Be like usage. Of late, I have been noticing a lot of casual memes floating around, particularly on Facebook, that involve this phrase. Typical constructs could be like the following examples. Be asterisk and amp, $% hashtag be like, I need a break. Niner fans be like, but we won 5 times. Liberals be like, I hate guns. I understand these are strictly informal constructs. But I'd need a native speaker's American English because most such memes seem to originate in the us take on. How casual these phrases are, i.e. if they can be used in semi-formal fiction writing. How this usage originate, and if it has any affiliation to a particular dialect group, e.g. Midwest, African American, Southern American, etc.
I'll give you my take on it. I feel like I can provide some insight even though I am not a native speaker. These are very casual. As in, they are as far from formal as it gets. I have seen lots of us TV shows and the like, and I've seen this meme being used exclusively by African Americans, as in black people. And even though be like does not seem to have an age limitation, I am under the impression that it is predominantly used by teenagers and younger adults. I am not sure whether it really is a meme either. There are lots of other Ave constructs where be replaces are such as he be trippin', we be rolling. Search for those strings with Google and you'll see they yield quite a few hits.
There are 2, maybe 3, different things going on here. Habitual be, as John Lawler and J_LV observe, is characteristic of Ave. It now appears to be spreading from that dialect into the speech of the millennials, and I am informed by my 24-year-old son that the use is not entirely ironic. It is marked as non-standard but employed unself-consciously. For instance, the common catchphrase haters gonna hate may be paraphrased haters be hatin'. Quotative be like, with a finite form of be representing a singular event, is another matter. In the 1950s, the very old dialect use of like as a discourse marker, with only a very remote sense of similitude, experienced a sudden upsurge among the gebiets, and indeed became a conventional sign in the representation of the speech of jazzmen and their followers. By early 60s it had been widely adopted among white teenagers across the US, I cannot say when it gained currency in other speech communities, and it was about that time that I first remember encountering quotative be like. Since then be like, and bear like, has been in continual use. It is particularly associated in popular imagination with the speech of teenagers, particularly the Southern California dialect called Val Speak, but in fact it is not restricted to any region or sociolect. I hear it every day in casual use by people of every origin and every calling. It is true, however, as J_LV says, that it is strictly a casual usage. It is not used in writing except where dialogue is represented. In fact, it would have no point in writing, since its characteristic use is to represent what follows and not merely as a quotation of someone's words but as a representation, mimesis, of that speaker's performance. And in speech it is still more characteristic of teenage than adult speech, because as people grow older they achieve a firmer grasp of formal speech and avoid casual use when there is any sense that it may be inappropriate. The utterances you quote marry these two senses. Be is employed as a finite verb signifying habitual or generic application and like to mark what follows as a representation of behavior. The answer from teenager Feroz Masroor confirms that this is employed across ethnicities to mock a certain stereotype of any group of people. There is also, my son patiently explained to me, another be-like usage which marries both of these. X be like Y employs a mimesis of X's just occurred singular performance of Y to express that Y is characteristic of X. What be like doodly wong, for instance, states that JJ Watt's brutal sack of the quarterback is the sort of thing he does all the time. This may also be expressed as, what be all doodly wong. But this is only for immediate responses. With past events, the verb reverts to ordinary finite form.
Teenager here. Be like is used to mock a certain stereotype of any group of people, mocking what they say or do by posing it as their opinion. For example, teachers be like, have this homework over the break. It's only encountered in casual speech between teenagers, or at least not between students and teachers. You could use it in fiction writing if it's in a quote. For example, teachers be like, have this homework over the break, said Bob. But you can't say, Professor McCarthy was like, have this homework over the break, unless your story is narrated by such a teenager who feels the need to speak casually and you feel the need to stay in character. I have no information about its origins, but at this point nearly every ethnicity can be found to use it sometimes in casual speech. I have also seen as be like, blah blah, sometimes when talking about a black person, or if the speaker is a black person. Edit. Turns out that I myself made a Facebook post a while ago using be like context. Last year, as a freshman, I had a challenging history teacher who loved to put strange compare and contrast questions on his tests. My post reads, be like, to what extent is Adam Smith's capitalism inherently Machiavellian as it relates to the historical trajectory of Yuan dynasty China?
It's the invariant B, see section 3.1.2 of this paper. Walt Wolfram contends that usage of the invariant B is age-related, in that young people cease to use it as they grow older. The earliest reference in that paper is a survey of non-standard English by the US Department of Education in 1968, Labov et al. 1968. However, that's almost certainly not the first use of the invariant B, but rather when linguistics researchers started to see value in describing African American vernacular English, Ave. I suspect that origins of a lot of Ave, including the invariant B, is irrevocably lost. The meaning is really interesting, because this is not a simple case of subject-verb disagreement. According to this paper, the invariant B functions as present simple tense in which recurrence is explicitly indicated. Taking an example from the question, women be shopping indicates that women habitually shop, similar to women shop, except that the habit is explicitly indicated by be. The present continuous, women are shopping, indicates that a group of women are currently shopping, i.e. not the same meaning as women be shopping. Based on my reading about Ave, I would say the archaic usage is unrelated. In archaic usage, be is the dynamic verb, e.g., there be vermin, of the present simple tense, whereas invariant B is a static verb in the Ave usage.